I have found that going paperless is super duper helpful. And if you give me a couple minutes of your time for a couple of days, I guarantee that you will go in the direction of going paperless, maybe go completely paperless. And I really hope that I can make your life easier. The weather is warming up outside, and I don't want you to spend time inside with all your papers, swimming in them when you could be swimming in water outside. Ha ha ha. And I just want to make your life easier, help you out. So join me. Okay, I know we don't live in black and white, and this picture just looks so outdated, but do you feel like this woman, like the mail just keeps on coming? So I feel like I can relate to her, and we're not the Beatles. We're not super celebrities, most of us, and we're getting all this mail, and you know what? It's not fan mail. It's not. So what do we think the solution is to all this mail? I think there's a couple solutions, and I think going paperless and dealing with mail and dealing with paper is a process. The first thing, in my opinion, is get an iPhone or another smartphone. Oh wait, we already have these devices. But let's face it, what we really need is motivation. What is that reason, that big compelling reason why you want to go paperless or just minimize your paper? This is my reason, or I should say these girls are my reason. These are my 3 little girls, and I don't want them to grow up in a house that's full of clutter. So I went to the library and I picked this up. Actually, it was an audiobook, so I didn't have to pick up an actual book. I listened to it and it transformed the way I thought about paper. But in reality, I had been thinking about going paperless before I read this book. I was an auditor. I'm a CPA. I was an auditor for 7 years. And we used a scanner just like this one, and we used to have tons and tons of papers when we audited. And by the end, and honestly, within a year of my starting auditing, we had started going paperless, and by the end, we were all paperless. And I said to myself, if we could do auditing for the government using a scanner and going paperless, why can't I do that in my personal life? If some of you have seen my presentation live on going paperless, this first episode might be pretty similar to that. I will add a couple new things to it. If you haven't, you're in for a treat. Starting in the second episode, we're going to get into more of the details of going paperless. So let's go through the basics. So Marie Kondo said in her book, "My basic principle for sorting papers is to throw them all away. My clients are stunned when I say this, but there is nothing more annoying than papers." Okay, so I had to get to this point where I felt that papers were annoying me. And I don't think it takes too much these days to get to that point, especially if you have children. So this is the way she says to handle the papers. She has different categories. I have developed some of my own categories as well. But basically, she is showing here how you do not need to keep most of the papers that come through your door. And if you do keep them, in many cases, I advocate scanning them and keeping them electronically. I feel that certain things I would like to see again. I do not want to completely get rid of them. But because I have gone paperless, I can do that now without feeling guilty. The sentimental items that you want to declutter are always the hardest ones to tackle, and as you can see, they're last on the list here. And I found that putting things in the cloud helps a lot with this category. Also, some of the other items here I've put in the cloud, and we'll talk about that in more detail in a future episode. And if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to leave those questions in the comments, and I will try to address them in future episodes. Today's episode is going to focus on the mail, and as you can see, I have a couple other categories I'm going to focus on before showing you what I do in my Google Drive in the cloud where I put things. Today's episode will be the mail, and then the next episode will focus on these other categories. And I just want to reiterate what I mentioned before, to leave sentimental items until the end. Most of the items I'm talking about today, like the mail, are usually not sentimental, and they're a little bit easier to deal with before dealing with sentimental items. And we will talk more about sentimental items in the next episode. So in this episode, I'm going to focus on the mail that comes to your door. What to do with your mail? Well, the first thing that I advocate is going paperless with your utility bills and your bank statements and your credit card statements to get more via email, to do auto pay with what goes out so you're not putting as much into the mail. What I advocate is starting with the mail that comes to your house today and then going and deal with what's accumulated if you happen to have a pile or a bag or something like I used to have. Now, I think the best way to do it, and I've been doing this for years, is just to sort it immediately, to shred things, to have like a shred pile, like a recycle pile, things that could go like to this dumpster here that I have at my church for recycling, and just to have like a plan with the mail as soon as it comes. And I am okay with throwing things out and not always recycling and breaking things up because I think that's okay. And then I put save in a small print because I really think that there's so little you need to save, even so little that you need to scan when it comes. So what to do with what you save? Hopefully that'll be a small pile. So determine with what you're saving if it's current, short-term, or long-term. Think about if you need like a firebox or if you need a safe, etc. Just trying to keep certain documents safe that need to be safe in case of a fire or a theft. These documents would include birth certificates, social security cards, passports, marriage certificates, titles, deeds, documents like that. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, this sounds great, hypothetically, but in reality, I have a ton of stuff. And I know I just said start now, but what's bothering you is what's accumulated. So what do you do with what's accumulated? Well, if you can, I suggest putting all of your accumulated papers in a pile, like on a big rug you have in your house or something like that, and then just try to start discarding what you can. Now, this might be different, from one person to the next, what it is, but for the most part, I would say you can probably discard, like Marie Kondo said, almost everything or a lot of documents, and some of that might require you to scan them or take pictures of them to store them online. So I know I need to remind myself to keep calm. There's a lot going on in my day, especially with my kids and my family, and it's a lot to juggle sometimes, even if you don't have kids. So I remind myself, okay, I need to keep calm. There's an app for that. Okay, everyone's probably heard of that before. Now, one app that I found that was on TV actually, it's been around for I think a couple of years, is called Paper Karma, and I am convinced it is helping me with my junk mail. I downloaded it. I took this snapshot when I had just started downloading it, and I haven't had a chance to get another one taken since that, but I have actually taken a picture of tons of my junk mail, and I am convinced that I have so much less now coming through my door because of this app. This app scans the return address, and it notifies that sender that you don't want to receive mail from them. You don't want to receive junk mail from them anymore, and I am just thrilled about it. I will probably do an entire episode devoted to apps like Paper Karma, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so we have started this series on going paperless, and I'm so happy you're here. Please like and subscribe. And starting, just a teaser here, episode 2, I'm going to get into some more apps dealing with going paperless, and then probably episodes 3, 4, and for a while, I'm going to talk about the Google Drive. And this is a look, just a sneak peek at my Google Drive, and I'm going to be talking more details soon, and you'll see how I use it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you join me for my next episode. Have a great day.